It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies released on October 26, 1990. We have 4 films to look at, so let's get right to it. Let's start with the first movie, and of course, when you're only a few days from Halloween, why not release a new horror movie? And how about one with Stephen King's name attached to it? This is Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. Yeah, considering that most of the people behind the scenes didn't really have any projects afterwards, maybe one or two, and considering that Stephen King really does not like this movie all that much, you could pretty much tell that this movie was not really good. It really does not hold a cake compared to some of the other movies he's made, Pet Sematary and Maximum Overdrive up to this point. But, I mean, it's got a loyal following. I mean, Scream Factory put it out on Blu-ray a few years ago, and it does have its fans. It does have its fans, but it definitely does not feel like a movie that's up there with some of the best movies based off of Stephen King material. I mean, there are so many better movies made based off of King books, and this is definitely not one of them. This is a movie that feels very generic, feels very formulaic, feels very predictable, feels very cliched. It's got some nice practical effects overall, but overall the movie itself is just not really all that good. So, yeah, at least that's my opinion. Like I said, it has its fans, but I'm not one of them. So that's Graveyard Shift. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Kirstie Alley and the comedy Sibling Rivalry. Yet another Kirstie Alley comedy in 1990 that has a really good cast to it. I mean, Madhouse had a great cast to it, but this, you have, not only have Kirstie Alley, but you have Jamie Gertz, you have Bill Pullman, Ed O'Neill, Carrie Fisher, Scott Bakula, Francis Sternhagen, John Randolph, Sam Elliott. Just a great cast overall, directed by Carl Reiner, and yet it just doesn't work. It's a comedy that really doesn't know what it's trying to be. Like, it's very much similar to Madhouse. It's supposed to be a black comedy, but it doesn't really feel like they had a good idea of how they wanted this film to go about. I mean, it's a movie that's very confusing. There's really not a whole lot of laughs here. The cast here is pretty much wasted on a script that's not really written all that well. And it just doesn't feel like a movie that was really all that good the way they were setting it up. Like, it felt like a script that needed another rewrite. Primarily just to get better writing in there. Because really, nothing really happens in this movie that's exciting or hilarious or shows how funny these people can be. Because these people can be really funny when given the right material to work with. And this just isn't it. And, I mean, Carl Reiner, man, one of the great comedy directors of all time. And he was on a downward spiral at this point. And this was another movie that just didn't work out for him. But, so yeah, that's my quick thoughts on Sibling Rivalry. It's a movie that definitely does not work. So, let's go on to the next movie, and that is Tune In Tomorrow. Another movie that has a really good cast to it. Barbara Hershey, Keanu Reeves, Peter Falk, Dee Dee Pfeiffer, Patricia Clarkson, Henry Gibson, Peter Gallagher, Dan Hedaya, Buck Henry, John Larroquette, Elizabeth McGovern. But much like Sibling Rivalry, it just doesn't work because the script is not really all that well written. And honestly, this is what Soap Dish... This is kind of like a diet version of Soap Dish. Because Soap Dish, I think, did this concept a whole lot better. This idea of the drama behind the scenes of a production. And I think Soap Dish, the year that comes out the year after this, does this movie this idea and this movie a whole lot better. But I mean, it's unfortunate that this is another movie where you have a great cast, but unfortunately the material given to them just doesn't work. It's a movie that really does not work very well, and, yeah, that's all I got to say about this one. Tune in tomorrow. So, let's go ahead and move on to the last movie, and that is The Nasty Girl. Unfortunately, that was the only clip I could find, and I haven't seen this movie, but I've seen a little bit of some of the imagery here, and let's just say there's one clip that I saw on YouTube where the stock photo they have at the front is a picture of a woman looking at a cat with both of its paws nailed to the wall, and it's just like, okay, so it's going to be that kind of a movie, huh? And, like I said, I can't really comment on it because I haven't seen it. It's a foreign film. It's from West Germany, and it doesn't. From the little bit I saw, it doesn't look too bad, but I feel like it does those little things to try to get a spark from people, a shock from people. But then again, maybe it plays a part in the movie. Like I said, I can't really comment on it, but because I haven't seen it. But just wanted to acknowledge that that came out this weekend. So that's The Nasty Girl. And on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies, and we jump into November the next time around. And November starts off pretty strong with Adrian Lynn's follow-up to Fatal Attraction, Jacob's Ladder, Prince's new movie, The Graffiti Bridge. We also have Waiting for the Light, Frankenstein Unbound, Vincent and Theo, and C'est La Vie. I mean, this week overall, we're going to be looking at some pretty good movies, because we're going to go all the way into the end of November. And November 1990 had a couple of notable movies to talk about, some really good notable movies. So we'll definitely have a lot to talk about this week. So we'll jump into that starting tomorrow. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. As always, if you want to see more videos like this, check out the playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And until then, take care.